Yo, what is good? We are back. The Redshirt podcast is back, man. I know it's been a minute since y'all probably seen me on here for a while. Been dealing with some life things, man, and life be life at points and times. But back on track with y'all, man. Getting everything squared away. As always, man, I am your host, DG. I got my guy, my brother in the building with me. My boy Trey is here at that way 816. Yeah, a lot going on in the college football world at this point in time. Um, so yeah, lots been happening. I'm way off track tonight. I'm sorry, guys. A lot going on for me or whatever. But Trey, how you feeling tonight? How's everything going, bro?
Dude, portal season has just been a whirlwind, y'all. Like, y'all gotta understand. I look down, somebody's committed somewhere. Look up, and somebody hit the portal, and this has just been a whirlwind of a year so far, of a
Yeah,
portal year. But we gonna roll.
yeah, bro. It seems like guys hopping in the portal, then committing and going back, and then some guys surprising you saying, they wasn't gonna hop in the portal, and then they do hop in the portal, and yeah, it's just been a lot, man. A lot going on, a lot of movement here and there. Um, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy where college football has gone from. This is almost like NFL free agency now. We sitting here talking about guys and how much they want to get paid, and some players feel like they're not being paid enough. So they hop in the portal to kind of make some moves and transitions and stuff like that. To go to different schools, it's wild, bro. So far though, how do you who are your winners and losers of the portal at this point in time? What schools do you feel like are dominating the portal, and what schools do you feel like are they're failing in the portal right now?
Um, Honestly, probably my number one. Uh, Unexpectedly, of course, you got your Ohio States, you got the Miami's, all that. Of course, they're doing their own thing. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and unrecognizable is probably what James Franklin is doing at Virginia Tech. We know that he's been a good recruiter, and he's adding on to that. I think that I'll give if I give about 3 to 4. Virginia Tech's up there. Number two has got to be y'all, because I mean, though y'all lost a lot, like who the hell ain't going to ignore the fact that the team got Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers, and Cam Coleman within a week. Um, um, I would definitely say as well. I mean,
You know,
number
so, some
look,
slight,
yeah,
just a little some
so
slight.
I already knew you were gonna do something there.
Just a little.
um, I would also have to say, like, even though I know people don't like they thought that they got punted. I mean, Indiana, of course, because they're the national championship, but they're also adding on for next
Uh,
year. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. Um, I know that this might not be uncommon because a lot of people are looking at Dan Lanning and they're looking at this team and all that. I mean, I gotta show some love to
mhm,
Oregon. You know that as soon as they hit the portal, you know exactly what they did. Number one, get Dylan Raiola. As much as people want to talk mess on Dylan Raiola, he is backing up the Ducks. That is a situation right there. He is going to be the Ducks' backup quarterback. You go back in, you got a hitting, hard hitting, a very versatile safety in the Minnesota transfer. I forgot Koa something. I don't know his last name, or forgive me.
mhm,
Um, you got Alex Olish. Nobody really knows about him, but he's a great tight end. Oregon's going to continue to put out tight ends.
mhm,
And then not only that, the roster retention. They got a lot
mhm,
back. We covered Chiefs draft stock. Two of the guys that we wanted both said, "Hey, we're going back to Eugene." Arguably three. Uh,
yeah.
Louis Tuatoi or whatever his name is, the linebacker. That's a big draft stock guy. He decided to come back. Amari Washington is another guy. He decided to come back. Mateo Uyungale, he decides to come back. And then not only that, your starter, Dante Moore, the projected number, arguably the projected number one pick, or one or two, decides he's not gonna hit the draft. He's coming back for another year. How huge is that for the Ducks?
Yeah.
It's a lot. So I would definitely say if that came off the top of the head, I would definitely say those three for sure.
Yeah, definitely feel like obviously the major schools, Ohio State, Oregon, um, and several others in there as well too. The school I cheer for, Texas as well. We've just been kind of out there, really spending the big dollars,
Yeah, I did
and
a lot.
going to getting more of the big names in this, in this transfer portal. And I really don't think a lot of those schools are really done at this point in time. I think there's more to still come, and obviously a lot of these schools are being aggressive. I think a lot of them know the window that they're kind of in, and you got to capitalize and take advantage of your opportunities that you have right now. So.
I think the number one, y'all. Let's keep it 100. When DG got the news that Cam Coleman was coming, boy, our group chat blew up. That boy said, "Oh my God, we got Cam Coleman," and then I was like, "All right, cool." First, they got
Yeah.
Raleek. I was like, "All right, yeah, y'all needed a back. Oh, y'all lost damn near all your running back room, cool, all that." And you got Raleek Brown. You're happy, okay, cool. Then Cam Coleman comes in fix. I'm like, okay, Jamie French is the portal, all that. And then when I saw Hayes put out that "oh my God" look, I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my!" I'm thinking somebody else. Whole time Hollywood Smothers flips from Alabama to go to Texas. What kind
Yeah.
of bull is this, bro?
Yeah.
So
That
go
was
ahead,
wild.
DG. I want to let you have your floor because I want you to go ahead and put out all the Texas propaganda you want, bro.
Yeah, I don't want to brag or anything,
Go ahead.
but hey, I told y'all, man, that Texas oil money is different. Some of these schools, you just gotta get your weight up. Just get your weight up a little bit. But nah, I kind of had a good feeling the whole time that Cam Coleman, it was kind of either gonna come down between probably us and Texas Tech, um, who I felt like could probably offer him the most, as far as not as only as just competitiveness of the school, but at the same time offer him the most money. I know Alabama and Texas A&M were both in the mix as well too, but I just didn't see those as destinations for him at this point in his career. Cam Coleman to me is a kid that probably next year is probably going to be the first receiver taken off the board in the NFL draft. So I would ultimately feel like you would have to go somewhere where you could maximize your status and maximize your image at or whatever. And I think with Ty Simpson leaving Alabama and then Texas A&M, just I feel like I like Marcel Reed, but I just feel like the turnover there was a lot this year. They're losing a lot of guys to the draft and things of that nature at this point. So I just think that those destinations are probably looked at as just more so of, if I'm going here, am I really going here for opportunity and change, or am I going here to because I have good relationships with these
Right,
schools or whatever.
right.
Obviously Alabama was home for him or whatever. Texas A&M, obviously the relationship with Marcel Reed and things of that nature. I think all those things make sense, but at the same time, like you got to maximize your talents, and you got to do that at the right school or whatever. So
Yeah.
I was very excited to get Cam Coleman. Um, very very excited to hold on, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm at the hospital. So
Nah,
uh,
he
but
got a little personal stuff going on. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Anyway, getting Hollywood Smothers was that was a shock to me. I did not I did not expect to get him at all. It was crazy. Um, like that was wild to get him to flip from Alabama to Texas when I thought he was fully committed to going to Bama, but it obviously seemed like Bama wasn't offering what he wanted. also adding him and Relique Brown in our backfield, um, man, it creates for a 1-2 dynamic that makes for ultimate explosion for both of them. So excited to have Hollywood Smothers as well too. Now I think that the journey now is for them to shift their focus and into investing into this offensive line, and hopefully there's one more big domino that's gonna fall for them in their favor here soon. But we'll see. We'll end up seeing what happens. I do want to roll into that topic as I bring this up. As you all seen the news, um, obviously 5-star talent, one of the best offensive tackles I think in the nation, Jordan Seaton, is planning to hop in the transfer portal and leave the University of Colorado, Prime University, a place where he called it a brotherhood at one point in time. It ain't looking like a brotherhood so much. What was your thoughts on seeing Jordan Seaton leave and take his chances in the portal?
Number one, like this again, this emphasizes how big of a transfer portal this has been. Um, it's been an up and down season for Colorado. Not only just the regular season, but also the transfer portal. They lost some guys, and then they got some other stuff. And it seemed like they were in a good spot. It's like as long as you get to keep guys like him in the building, and you got to keep like Juju Lewis in the building, like
Mm-hmm.
this is like I was like, all right, Colorado still. I mean, they're not looking too great, but they had something. And then this hit, and then once this hit, I had a feeling I was like, all right, bro, something either he's getting poached or there's something wrong that's going on with Colorado. Because it seemed like he was also bought in and all that. And then I've heard from Colorado fans talking about some he kind of flipped up on them. And then, honestly, I don't know how the transfer portal has been like that. Trust me, a guy seems so committed, and then you look up the next day, and that same guy who's sitting over there trying to poach somebody to go to your school ends up in the portal. Like that. That's just that. If that doesn't tell you how crazy transfer portal is and how crazy these kids are taking things, and if it doesn't scream the fact that there needs to be some changes, because I do agree there might need to be a little bit of restriction when it comes to transfer portal. This kind of emphasizes it because it seemed like Jordan C was gonna do it exactly what he needed to do. He was gonna be he loved Dion so much. He was he was behind Dion and the movement and all that, and you look up and he's gone. So
Yeah, this one surprised me a lot just because of how much he, like I said, how much he talked about brotherhood. And, oh, I want to be here, and how much he loves Prime, and and then just from the recruitment standpoint alone, like he chose Colorado over a lot of schools he could have went. I think that more so because he believed in the vision that Prime and them were building there. But it just goes to show you that sometimes business is business, and business ain't pretty. Um, I think for him, I think this is. I don't necessarily think this is about money for him. I think this is more about opportunity to win, opportunity to showcase your talents on a much larger scale in much bigger games. I love Colorado. I love Prom. I think they did a phenomenal job there, but I just think that time is starting to come short. I could be wrong about that or whatever, but they last year they just didn't win a lot of games. And when you're not winning games, you don't get the high profiled scouts and things like that at your at your school. I think that's what this move is about. So right now we'll end up seeing where Jordan Seaton lands. Obviously, we've heard a couple schools are interested in kind of vying for his services at this point. I do think there was some tampering that did go on um, with with him hopping into the portal. He probably did get a couple offers from some schools. One being my school in particular. I do think Texas was involved in a little bit of tampering And I think Oregon as well too. Kind of, did their due diligence of trying to, hop into the portal as well too. So, you know,
Honestly, I'm glad you said that because then there's another team that I think that a certain guy who claims to be a Mizzou fan, but he been real coping hard for Miami lately. Chuck think that he going to Miami,
yeah,
and I was like, Chuck, why is it that why are you hyping up Miami so much? I'm happy the U is back.
mhm,
Who cares about Miami? Clearly he does. Like, how are
yeah,
you a Missouri fan and you care about Miami's well being? Like, brother, like respectfully, I as much as I love Oregon, you're not gonna see me say, oh, Oregon finally got a natty. This team is gonna be a blue blood. No.
mhm,
I'll be happy for him, cool, all that. Outside of that, I don't really much care. Love
right,
Oregon. I love all my Oregon fans. Dog, you ain't
mhm,
never gonna see me cold for him talking about some, oh my your Oregon got a huge win. That's a national champion.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it is what
I think I, I right now I do think Oregon and Texas are probably the two schools that are in the league for him, or that are probably fighting for his services at this
yeah.
point in time. The only bad, I would say, the only negative about Texas right now is that he ultimately will probably have to play right tackle instead of playing at left tackle, just because we already have a left tackle. So I
Right.
think I don't know if that's something that's important to him. Obviously, either way, he would still get drafted very high, regardless of what position he will play, because he's obviously one of the more highly talented tackles in the nation right now. So I think that's probably the main thing. I think he's probably focusing on right now. Which school fits, which school scheme and things of that nature fit him better. I did hear that there were some negatives about his run blocking at Colorado. So I think that Oregon could have the schematics that he likes. Oregon does like to throw the ball. They got a great quarterback as well too, and Dante Moore coming back. So I think that could be a really good fit for him too. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up there. But you want to win. You want to win a ring, brother. You seen what Texas is building. Come to come to the 40 acres.
Come to the
So
48.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Jordan Seaton. Do you have a preferred destination that you think he probably would end up being in?
I think honestly, it's got for me. I'm gonna hop on the bandwagon as much as yeah. Like I said, I don't care about it. I just think in a fitting world, we've seen Oregon players really develop, and I think that especially with Isaiah World being their transfer tackle from this past season,
Uh,
uh, they definitely got a spot at left tackle.
uh,
And you can't sit over there. As much as people want to talk mess on what Oregon got done to them by Indiana, Oregon's still Nike University.
yeah.
Anybody who go to Nike, you still you want to get all the freshest gear, you want all the good shoes, you want to get taken, you want top of the line type equipment,
Mm-hmm,
and they got a spot for you. If you come in right now, you'll play your position.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, Phil Knight always got to drop a bag though. Phil Knight gonna drop that bag. So,
yeah.
I think honestly, if I was to think about it today, it's gotta be Oregon because of the fact that just position of need for them. They kind of
Mhm,
understand that you got bullied in the trenches against Indiana. We all agree that Indiana bullied you in the trenches.
yeah.
You're going to have to up a little bit more to solidify yourself in getting these so-called trenches.
Yeah.
And honestly, if this really how it is, your first domino has to be Jordan Seaton.
Yeah. 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 Something definitely as far as the physicality standpoint has to change down there. So we'll see. We'll end up seeing what happens. Let's roll into that because we didn't get a chance to react to that game. I know when
Yep.
we was on here the last time. I think we were kind of reacting to it or whatever.
A little bit. We watched about a little bit of most of them. We watched the first
Yeah,
quarter and a little bit of second.
yeah. So, what was your thoughts on the Indiana
Indiana,
Oregon
Oregon.
matchup, the rematch?
I thought it was gonna be a lot closer. Off rip, I thought it was gonna be a lot closer. I thought that maybe that there was an opportunity that Oregon, like we always say when it comes to the NFL, it's hard to beat a team twice.
Mhm.
I thought that's when it was gonna really come into play. I thought, all right, Oregon, they understand what happened to them last year. Dan is gonna make some adjustments. I don't really much care what's going on for them right now. They're focused on right now winning this game and making a generational run to go to a college football national championship.
Mhm.
Uh, that clearly didn't happen. Uh, when I unfortunately I didn't watch the beginning. I didn't watch that game. I didn't watch that game. The beginning of it. Uh, but coming into it, the very first drive, when I hear the very first drive, Dante Moore drops back, looks to his left, sees a receiver who wasn't even open, and
Mhm.
you threw it on his inside shoulder, and it got picked off and got taken for a pick six. I said, yeah, no, he's not serious, and this might get bad early. Um, I thought that my analogy for what I thought Oregon was gonna do, they did the complete opposite on the first play, and then they tried it on the second drive. They got seven. They were establishing the run, which I thought Oregon was gonna do, which they didn't. Um, and then it's kind of like like it. This was the worst game I've seen from Dante Moore. Like
Yeah,
even
it's pretty
including
bad.
his UCLA, yeah, even including his UCLA days.
Mhm.
Like that was a very bad game for Dante, and I think essentially that's the reason why he came back.
Yeah, yeah. So the game to me, I had Indiana. If anybody was in GIB spaces with me earlier, I picked Indiana to win this game. Um, and solely just because I just thought it was a bad matchup. I'm sorry for Oregon. Like, um, I think Indiana's a bad matchup really for any team this year. For real, just the size, the physicality, the experience that they have on their team this year, the also the motivation. I think that they have. I think Cincinnati, I don't know,
Cincinnati, yeah,
Cincinnati
yeah,
has got those kids to really buy in to that program, buy into what he's teaching them and things of that nature, and they're rolling right now, bro. I can't lie and sit here and say it. I just think that
they are.
they're obviously the best team in the nation. Sometimes you just have a year where you just unstoppable. It's not nothing a lot of teams can do.
Yeah,
I thought coming into the game, I really thought Indiana was going to impose their will, and that's what they did on both sides of the ball. I really feel like so.
yeah,
You know, I do think that you're correct about the Dante Moore take that him coming back is indicative of what happened in that game last week, and obviously that's not the way you want to kind of leave your college career, to impress scouts or anything like that. So but yes,
yeah,
Indiana, man, I think it's just for Oregon at that point in time, it was just a bad matchup, and that's ultimately what this came, with these games come down to. Sometimes you can have all the talent in the world, which we know that Oregon's a very talented school and gets a lot of talent to come there, but it don't mean anything when you can't match up with the other team on the other side. So
yeah,
shout out to the Ducks, man. But unfortunately, their season is over, and they're sitting at home about to watch, Indiana and Miami play for a national title. Speaking of the Oregon Ducks, we did get this news today. This was kind of breaking news as well. Oregon quarterback Dante Moore has decided to return for the 2026 season for going a chance to be a top pick in the 2026 NFL draft. His decision is expected to have significant ramifications on the draft. So there's a lot of talks amongst GMs and scouts in the NFL right now. I clearly think Dante Moore was probably going to be the second player taken off the board if he declared this year. But obviously, he sees it more fit for him to return to school, which I think if he does, then he might end up being the first pick next year taken off the board. Especially if he plays well. going into next season. What were your thoughts about Dante Moore staying? How were you shocked? Were you surprised, or anything like that?
Number one, like I was not surprised at all. I know a lot of Chiefs fans they kind of wanted him to go to the draft because that means that more people slid down the board. But the thing about it is kind of what you alluded to. He's a top pick, meaning
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter what draft class he's going to be. He's going to be at least number two for just about any board, any team that's needing the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think that especially not only just the Indiana game, but I mean, you have to take a look at all outlets. As much as every kid's lifelong dream is to play in the NFL and be a starting quarterback in the NFL, I mean, no disrespect to Jets fans, no disrespect to nothing about the New York Jets organization. Not now is not a good time to be a quarterback for the New York Jets because I think that honestly the number one pick was going to be the Raiders, and the Raiders are pretty much set on Fernando Mendoza. And right now, just seeing where if you were to ask me right now, is he NFL ready? I said longevity wise, no, he's not. For right now and get money and get paid, sure. But your goal in the NFL is not only just to be in the NFL, it's to last in the NFL. He's only 20 years old, ladies and gentlemen. That's the biggest thing about it. He's literally a baby. Um, He's still got a lot of time underneath him. This is not gonna shorten his career by any means. It's actually, I think, it's gonna extend his NFL career because he sits back. He's going to a university that prides himself on putting out draft picks from the quarterback position for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And you clearly saw again out of the Indiana game as well as other games, he's not entirely seeing the field. He's getting a little bit more tunnel vision. He's sitting back holding the ball a little bit too long. He's doing these types of things that we criticize quarterbacks who are coming out and letting him know, hey, you're going to be a top pick. You're going to be a top two pick in next year's draft if you were to stay. Plus, Oregon's going to pay him still good money. And you're not only helping yourself out, but you're also helping out Dylan Raiola because he's still coming back from a fractured leg or fractured fibia, I believe. And you're setting things up not only for yourself, but you're also keeping the maintaining of the university and of the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah. Um, I I I will say I was a little surprised, just because I thought that even though he didn't play well in that last game, that I thought he would see this as an opportunity for him to obviously make all of his NFL dreams come true. And I think he still has a very good shot and chance at that. But I was shocked just because I honestly think he was going to be a top five pick in my opinion. I think he was going to be the second quarterback, like I said, off the board. I think obviously Fernando Mendoza is probably the consensus number one player taken in this draft this year, just because of the Raiders needing a quarterback. But it wouldn't have shocked me if they would have taken Dante Moore this year and went that route with it. So, but obviously him returning to school says a lot about his character and how he feels about his game. And I think it's probably and arguably a good decision for him to return and get those reps that he needs to get underneath his belt to kind of make his game a little bit better and fine tune some things. I do think he's a talented kid, but I do think that there are some flaws in there that he probably needs to end up fixing, and I think you can do that coming back to Oregon and obviously trying to make another run to get to the national title game or whatever. Something that Dan Lanning and them they haven't been able to do. Kind
yeah,
of been squandering their chances there. Getting to the semifinal and end up getting beat or and badly
yeah,
too. They had some
yeah.
bad
No, that was
semifinal
a
losses.
bad
Yeah,
semifinal. And I
like
think the thing about this is, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it was bad. Um, Oregon fans and I think college football fans they kind of understand what's going on right now. Oregon's not contender, but we wouldn't be surprised if we look up and Oregon is the national champions. We're not going to be
yeah,
surprised.
no,
Um, we know that Dan Lanning he won a national championship, so Dan has won a national championship. He just won it as a defensive coordinator at the University of Georgia. now you're at that spot to where coming into the season, sure, you're losing guys. You lost Jalen Lamar. You're gonna lose Noah Whittington. You're gonna lose some players. You're gonna
Yeah.
lose. Actually, I think is Davidson. I think Jordan Davidson might be coming back. It's either one. I think they're gonna keep at least one back. But
Uh-huh.
now you're looking at it from the standpoint of this. Oregon has brought back a lot of their defensive production. Brandon Finney is going to be your cornerback number one, which I thought that Brandon Finney was the best DB, arguably the best freshman that I've seen in this
Yeah,
season.
yeah, he bought,
Uh,
especially that Texas Tech game.
boy, that Texas Tech game, he was one of
He
them.
was hooping.
Um, you're bringing back not only do you have like veteran potential, now you're bringing in younger guy. You got the younger guys in. Mateo came, like I said, Mateo came back. A lot of people don't know Mateo was a big help to that defense.
Yeah.
Amari Washington, he is a freak of nature at defensive tackle. That's a big help. Tuioti, that's a big help in their linebacker room. They run a 3-4, so bringing him down as a drop back specialist as well as a pass rusher, that does a lot for your program. So them bringing back a lot of things, Dante Moore on that, like Oregon is bringing back a lot of their talent from last year.
Yeah.
They got new guys coming in. You lost your defense coordinator, you lost your offensive coordinator, but how Oregon runs, they do assistant DCs and assistant OCs. So these guys that are coming in, they're not new. They've been around this offensive coordinator
Uh,
position. They know the plays. So I think now this is going to be a situation of where if you're Oregon, this 2 to 3 year window, this is arguably going to be your best window.
mhm.
At this point, you're going to have to show us. Like you're gaining steps. First, you got your butt whooped against Ohio State last year. Okay, you were undefeated. You lost last year. This year, you go in there. You lost the game, but you're the 5 seed. You made a way. You beat Texas Tech. Don't care how it went. You won your first one, but you're back at that corner, that semifinal now. You're at that semifinal, and you're still trying to get over that hump.
Right.
Uh, so you're making one step forward. Now is a matter of what are you gonna do as a program from here on that's going to make your team go from we've been in the semifinal, we lost in the semifinal. How are we gonna at least make the national championship? And
Yeah.
this starts now.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot to figure out there. Obviously, still a lot to deal with as things go on. But I think that Dan Laney and them are in a good spot where they want to be for next year, as far as their future headed forward. So having Dante Moore back gives them a lot of security. Having Mateo and Amari Washington and guys like that return obviously shows that the main goal next year obviously is going to be to win a national championship. And I think that's why a lot of those guys ended up coming back, and I think that, for them, that can raise a lot of those guys' stock, uh, you know, going to next year's draft or whatever.
Yeah.
But speaking national championship, and we are finally here. It is finally time. It is time to crown a champion. We have our matchup. The Indiana Fighting Hoosiers taking on the Miami Hurricanes, man. What a matchup this is. Very unpredictable matchup if you ask me. I don't think a lot of people had Indiana and Miami facing off in these playoffs at this point in time. So um, yeah, man. Indiana has had, I mean, Miami has had a very impressive run through these playoffs. Obviously, starting in Texas, beating Texas A&M on the road, and then facing who was in the quarterfinal? Was it Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Ole Miss in the quarters. Um, was it Ole Miss? Or did they face Miami?
They, oh, you talking about Miami?
Yeah.
They beat Miami beat Texas A&M, then went to the Cotton Bowl, beat Ohio State.
Mhm.
Then they beat them, then they played Ole Miss and beat them, and now they're here.
Yeah. So now they're here facing off against what I think right now, to me, in my opinion, I'm just saying, man, they're the best team in the nation, in my opinion, right now. I don't think you can slice it any other way at this point. You know, how you feel about this matchup heading into what we're about to see on Monday, and what do you think ultimately helps both of these teams raise a championship trophy?
I think that number one, I love I love the storyline of this. I know there are a lot of people, we talked about storylines a little bit. Storylines are a lot to this entire thing. Um, Number one, uh, this whole entire story of Indiana shutting out all the haters. They went out, played Notre Dame last year. They lost to Notre Dame. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people thought they were frauds. They thought this was a 1 year wonder. All that. Now they're looking a lot better. Now they're looking like a team that not a lot of people don't want to face. Very
Yeah,
physical. They're a team that is not like other teams. They're not like other teams. They weren't built off of 5 stars and elite former coaches, and it's not off of that. This is
yeah,
homegrown quality development, following your coach, doing everything you need to do, and building yourselves up into this is the dream scenario. This is like
yeah,
if you were to do dynasty right now and you're
mm-hmm.
building up little Kennesaw State and you're building them to be a contender, I think they're a little bit bigger than that. But
Yeah,
actually I'll flip that and I'll say that to the level you're up to the level of okay, I don't know. I'll say Kansas State or something. A team that is not really that's not like really likely, but they're known off of other things, but it's not football. They're
yeah,
growing, they're developing, they're doing what they need to do, and then they get up there and now they're playing homegrown quality football. Number one, shout out to the Indiana Hoosier fans because you guys have literally been a part. Like the fans deserve this, and Kirk Signetti is showing that hey, I can run with anybody.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Coming back into it, you were the number one team in the country. You beat Oregon. You beat Ohio State to win a to win a Big Ten championship. You got the number one seed. A lot of people thought the one seed is hard to have because people was you could mess up.
Mm-hmm.
You took care of business. Number one, you took care of business against Alabama. Like you not only took care, you dominated the Crimson
Dominated.
Tide.
Yeah,
You you made it undoubtedly known Indiana is going to thoroughly, mentally, physically whoop Alabama for 4 quarters.
mm-hmm.
Then they move on and then they're playing who was it they were playing? Um they were playing some other team. I forgot who. Let me go look again. Indiana was playing some team. Hold on, I
You
gotta
talking
go
about
on.
in these playoffs?
Yeah.
They beat Bama. They beat who they play in the semifinal?
Yeah, I got the bracket. I'm pulling up the bracket right now.
Well,
Um,
Oregon.
Indian they beat Alabama, they beat Oregon, and now they're here. Now they've not only shown that they can compete, they're dominating teams that we're thinking they're gonna have a battle with. Now this is the situation. It's like Fernando Mendoza's from Miami, from the Miami, Florida area. He wanted an offer from Miami. Miami didn't offer him. He goes to Indiana. He goes to Cal,
Mm-hmm.
does a little bit at Cal, shows off as being one of the top portal quarterbacks, comes to Indiana and tees Indiana all the way up.
Yeah,
Like that is a storyline I want to get behind. On
yeah.
the Miami side, you kind of already explained the whole situation for them. We weren't sitting over here thinking Miami was going to no college football playoff at
Not
all.
even one in Miami in the playoffs.
I,
Remember
I
that?
didn't want. We didn't want him either. We were like, bro, Doofy gonna get butt whooping in the first half. And they made Miami, y'all made me shut up. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all made me shut up.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a lot of people up.
yeah, they shut a lot of people up from thinking that Notre Dame was going to take their spot in the college football playoff to them there, and then people thought they were going to lose first round, then beating them, thinking that they're going to get demolished by Ohio State, and then beating them, and then saying, "Oh, Ole Miss got a good chance," and then beating them. I mean, now they're one of the fewest teams to host a national championship. They're
Yeah,
going to be hosting it. Um, but all in all, yeah, very very proud of what Miami has done.
yeah,
But we'll see if that you know what I'm saying we when we make our predictions, y'all see if I'm gonna start leaning in.
yeah. I feel like this game ultimately boils down to two different styles. Indiana with structure, discipline, and physicality, and then Miami with speed, confidence, and big moments that they've kind of had. You know, they've been clutch, man. Like they just have
Mhm.
made all the right plays, even from the Texas A&M game to the Ohio State game, to playing Ole, Ole Miss in the
Yeah,
semifinals. So um, every turn in this playoffs, they have just made the right play at some point in time. Malachi Tony has been phenomenal force in these playoffs. Man, he's been a tremendous weapon for them. And then Ruben Bain in that defense with Keontae Scott and those guys. They've played so well down the stretch for them during these playoffs. So it's an interesting matchup. And I feel like this is maybe the one team that I think may give Indiana a run for their money, just off the simple fact that I don't think that they're afraid of Indiana, and I don't think they're going to come into this game afraid of Indiana. Obviously, like I said, matchups ultimately will make these games, especially at the end of the year. But I think this is one of those things where we end up seeing a lot closer game that for Indiana in this matchup, just solely based off of the motivation that Miami has coming into it. You know,
yeah,
it's a lot riding on the line for them. Haven't been here. I think this is the first time Miami's been in the national title game since the early 2000s.
yeah.
So there's a lot going on in this game. I do want to get to one question.
What's
The
up?
quarterback matchup in this. Um, Obviously, Fernando Mendoza, who is the Heisman Trophy winner, obviously has had a phenomenal year for that team versus who I call Doofy uh, waste of times, but can't really call him Doofy anymore, man. He's done his job, what he needed to do to get to this point. Carson Beck in this game. Which quarterback, in your opinion, makes a better difference? Makes more difference for their team, and who needs to do more for their team in order to win this game?
Um, honestly, I think that Fernando Mendoza is the better quarterback, talent wise, and youth and all this. Um, and who do I think needs to do more? Honestly, on from a defensive standpoint, it's going to have to be. I think it's going to have to be Indiana as well.
Yeah.
Um, the one thing I really started to respect Miami was is their run game. They have C.J. Daniels. Well, not C.J. Daniels. Yeah, they got C.J. Daniels and they got Mark Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
As well as they got receivers and Malachi Tony. Well, actually, I think C.J. Daniels is their other receiver. Um, I mean, Indiana in total. I mean, Miami in total. They got the experience. I mean, they got a lot of veterancy, college football veterancy, is what you think. They got Keelan Marion. They got C.J. Daniels. Yeah, my bad. Shamar Brown. I keep forgetting. I keep mixing those up. Shamar Brown at their backup running back position. I mean, they can run the ball. So the one thing that I've seen from Indiana is Indiana's been able to run the ball a lot. I mean, they've been able to stop the run a lot. Um, it's a lot of matchups that I think that is going to be a lot of things. I mean, both of these teams are very physical in the trenches on both sides of the ball. But
Mhm.
honestly, it's uh I think both sides they got to do stuff. I think that Fernando is the better quarterback, which means Carson's going to have to look like this look Carson and maybe a tiny little bit more.
Mhm.
But I think that honestly that these teams are pretty even
Yeah.
in my thoughts. I think that maybe I said honestly I think maybe a Indiana from a talent wise they got better receivers, but I mean there's some things that Miami has is better than that that Miami doesn't have is better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a very intriguing matchup, especially for both quarterbacks and seeing how they handle how does Fernando Mendoza handle that pass rush tandem of Keem Mesidor and Ruben Bain, and then how does
Definitely.
Carson Beck handle that the whole unit, Aiden Fisher, D'Angelo Pons, and those guys in Indiana on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
I I'm going to the lean that I think Carson Beck has to do a little bit more um, for his team this time around. I think that the Indiana will do a good job of staying on script and staying on schedule. Ultimately coming to this game knowing what they're kind of up against as far as that pass rush. If that pass rush for Miami can wreak havoc, um, it's gonna be a long day
It's gonna be a long
for
day
for Mendoza and them.
for sure.
And it could be one of those things where it turns into a really low scoring game that we've kind of seen from Indiana. But I think this is a very intriguing matchup, man. I think you just got stars on both sides of the ball uh, in the for this game, and I think it's going to turn into probably an electric matchup, which is crazy because, like I said from the start, I don't think anybody had
Yeah.
this being the
Nobody.
matchup for the national title game at this point in time. I certainly was one of those people. I'll be honest, I didn't believe in Indiana this year until they beat Ohio State. I thought that they had a great year up until that point, but I thought eventually they would probably run up into a team that was probably just more talented than them, and I was proven wrong. From that
Yeah.
point on, I
Yeah.
kind of looked at them and said, hey, I think this team can win the national title.
For sure.
Miami, on the other hand, obviously, like I said, they snuck in. A lot of people didn't want them there, and I think they've just proven everybody wrong at every turn in this playoff. So, they are playing pretty much with house money at this point. They have nothing to lose. So
They got
I think
nothing.
that creates for a very scary nightmare matchup when you're a team like Indiana who's dominated pretty much every opponent in this playoffs, and now you run up against a team that really just is not going to be afraid and has absolutely nothing to lose at this point in time. So,
Yeah.
give me three things: final score, give me your MVP of the game, and give me your X factor for either team.
Honestly, the the winner of this game, and I think will win the national championship. I think is going to come out of the Big Ten and the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm rocking with Indiana. They've shown me the light. As much as it's been a great run, the Malachi Tony, Ruben Bay, Akeem Mesidor, Carson Beck, all the y'all have had a great run. I can't wait to see what y'all do in the NFL. Except Tony, because we know Tony's going to be coming back for another year. Um, yeah, no, I still think that this Indiana thing, the one thing that Kirk Signetti is going to do is he's going to do the things that some certain coaches can't do, and that's do it with a roster that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Yeah,
This is again homegrown football. I've seen them be physical. I've seen them dominate, wreck havoc, all that. The one thing, shout out CJ, because what I've seen from what CJ has been putting me, he's been showing stuff. He's like, oh yeah, Omar Cooper, what is his name? Chase Barrett or Baggett. I forgot what his name is. But I was like, he was like, oh yeah, yeah. Hold on, let me go look at what his name. I keep forgetting people's name. Charlie Becker, my bad. Charlie
mhm,
Becker. Charlie Becker is a guy that I was like, oh my god, Omar Cooper. They got D'Angelo Pons. I mean, they got guys for real. Like they got some really talented players. Aiden Fisher. They got guys who can direct. Oh, D'Angelo Pons plays defense. I forgot. I
Still
forget that
made the
D'Angelo.
impact. Had a
Yeah,
pick
he
six
plays on
last
both.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a big one. Isaiah Jones. I mean, they got a lot of talented players.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I'm gonna go with the favorite. I think I'm gonna go with Indiana. I saw that the lines were at one point were at the beginning 7.5. They've now bumped up to 8.5. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that either Vegas is betting a lot on Indiana or Indiana got some players that we don't know about that Vegas feels very confident in that Indiana's going to take care of the business. I think that they're going to win. My MVP is got to be the Heisman winner. It's got to be Fernando because we just talked about this Miami defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if Fernando can sit back in the pocket and do what he needs to do, he's got a good chance. A lot of people look at the Ole Miss game and talked about how well Miami played against Ole Miss and Trinidad, and they missed so many interceptions. Keem Mesidor really didn't get off like we were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Ruben Bain, he got tackles, but he wasn't wrecking havoc like against Texas A&M and like against Ohio State. Like Miami, they kept them in check for the most part. Uh, and then now, especially, I think now they've given Indiana the blueprint of, hey, be physical at the point of attack. Give your quarterback at least 3 seconds. The thing about Fernando ain't really running around like that. He can run, but he's not gonna be
No.
running around like that. He's not a runner. Um, if you give him at least 3 seconds, the thing about it is this kid can get the ball out quick, and I think that they can really cause some havoc. So I think Fernando's got to be my MVP. And the key point is winning on third downs. A lot of these defenses, a lot of teams, if you've seen a lot of teams who have converted on third downs, who have extended drives, these are two of the best teams at converting third downs and extending drives. Uh, they've got a lot of equalities, and I think that whoever wins the third down ratio as well as the turnover battle, they're gonna undoubtedly probably be the winner of this game. So for me personally, as much as it's been a great run, Miami, I'm rocking with the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers done show me exactly what it is.
Right. Give me your X factor. One X factor.
My X factor outside of Fernando,
Mm-hmm.
it's gotta be me personally, it's gotta be this three-headed tandem, brother. I think it's gotta be this three-headed tandem in the wide receiver component for Indiana. This has gotta
Yeah.
be Elijah Surratt. This has gotta be uh a Charlie Becker. This has gotta be Omar Cooper. This has gotta be a Riley Nowowski. This has gotta be a lot of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando's got to really do that. I think the thing about both of these teams is as well is they both established the run. DG, like both of them, really they established the run pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's really gonna have to get to that passing game, setting up third downs or shorter, setting up for shorter pass attempts. And they got to go from there on.
Yeah.
But I think that if anything, it's got to be this receiving core. The coaches have to get them open, like Kirk Signetti and his staff. They got to do a lot to make sure that these guys are getting open with the amount of time that they're given. Because we know that Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor are going to be trying to come out and ready to win a national championship on their own field. But now it's time for Indiana to really show, hey, we've shown we can beat Bama. We've shown we can beat Oregon. We've shown that we can beat these top caliber programs in college football. We're
Yeah.
gonna go beat another one and really extend and show off our power and extend why Kirk Kennedy should be one of the top coaches in college football.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Matchups. Obviously, this is going to be a tough uphill battle for the Miami Hurricanes going up against a team that I think just physically wise can dominate pretty much any team in this nation. Um, it's tough, man. But we'll see. We will end up seeing what ultimately happens. As far as my game pick, um, you know, I've been rocking. Like I said, Indiana has made me a firm believer. They've definitely told me to shut up, uh, and definitely went out there and proved it. Ever since, like I said, they beat Ohio State, I have become a believer in them. But I'm not picking them. I'm going with the Miami Hurricanes. Um, you know,
So,
I think there are points in times where yes, matchups matter, but I also think there are points in times where motivation matters. And I think that although I do think this Indiana team is very highly motivated to go out here and win this game Monday night, I think the Miami Hurricanes are one going to take a lot of things into consideration for this game. Like I said, when you're the underdog and you're playing with house money and you have nothing to
yeah.
lose, um, I don't want to pick against that. You know, I think that ultimately creates for a lot of motivation for Miami side. So I'm going to go with the Hurricanes. My MVP. I think a lot of people probably expect me to sit here and pick Carson Beck, but I don't think he will be the MVP. I think my MVP will be Mark Fletcher, the running back for Miami Hurricanes. I think if Miami can establish their run game, control the clock, control and kind of muddy up the game for Indiana, keeping Fernando Mendoza and that highly talented group of receivers off the field, I think it makes it for a lot better situation for them to win this game. So Mark Fletcher is who I'm rolling with as far as my MVP. My X factor for this game is Malachi Tony. That kid is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
that kid is nice.
Like
That kid is.
if you haven't watched Malachi Tony all year, just flip on the game Monday night, look for number 10 and just watch him work. And the kid is get the ball in his hands any way possible and let him go to work. I think that I don't think Indiana has seen a talent like him this year. So I'm intrigued to see what they do as far as their matchup against them. Do love what that Indiana defense has done, but I think that Carson Beck and the boys will have some answers, especially with some time to prepare for this game. So definitely looking forward to it. I wish I had a final score. Mm, Score. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really have a final score. I wish I had a final score, but I don't really have one. But we'll
Oh,
end
I
up
know.
seeing.
I think it's gonna be 27-24. I'll take 27-24.
Okay. I I'll say I think it's gonna be low scoring. So I'll say 23-20 Miami ends up
Yeah.
winning. Um,
Okay.
we'll end up seeing what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, coming up on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, January 19th. So hopefully you guys will be tapping in too
Oh
as
yeah.
well to watch this thing, man. And if you are tapping in as well, you might as well, put a little bread down, put a little Skrilla on the game. Make the game a little bit more interesting for yourself. And you can do that over at Underdog with our good people at Underdog, who is our sponsor for tonight. Underdog Fantasy promo code KingdomCast. New customers play 5 and get 75 in bonus entries. You got the NBA, you got MLB, well not MLB, but NBA,
You got
so
NBA. You
college
got college
football,
basketball.
college basketball is going on. What else is going on out there?
NBA. Oh, wait, we already said MLB. That's pretty
NFL
much it.
playoffs are happening
NFL
right
playoffs
now.
for sure.
So a lot going on over at Underdog, man. Use that promo code to go over there to tap in with the good people at Underdog and tell them the Kingdom Cast sent you. Like I said, new customers play 5 and get $75 in bonus entry bets.
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't have anything else. That's all I really wanted to talk
Honestly, it's one of them type of days, man. This is
about.
college. This is the end, man.
Right.
Uh, Even though DG got the fun about his team, I mean, I think that we're doing a pretty solid
Oh yeah, let's
Missouri, yeah,
Missouri, yeah.
we're doing a pretty solid job in recruiting as well. Some
Austin
people are
Simmons.
freaking. Yeah, Austin Simmons is one. We got two Oregon DBs. We talked
Mhm.
about North. Like they lost two guys to us. We got Robert Woodyard from Auburn. I mean, we got some pretty solid guys who can come into the
I ain't
fold.
gonna lie, I was mad about that.
Uh,
He was supposed to be in Texas. You muted yourself.
there we
Yeah,
like I said, we beat out big old mighty Texas. I think that we're doing a solid job. Some fans they want to freak out because of the fact that they're not big name guys,
yeah, yeah.
and honestly, like the one thing that Indiana has also done for me is they've helped me learn some things. I mean, they helped me go more or less not learn, more or less of understand that this still exists.
Mhm,
You don't
mhm.
need to have big time number one players in the country, 5 stars, showing up playing for your team. You just need those guys who are really bought into your program and guys who are really bought into you and bought into you and your fan base and all that. And you got a coach that's gonna help them buy in and help them scheme up and get them in the right spot. So I'm not really tripping. I'm looking at everything else. I mean, the portal is about to close, so the next time y'all see us, the portal will be officially closed or in dead
Mhm.
week.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it will, a lot of things will happen, and I think there's still a lot of great talent out there. Like we just talked about Jordan Seaton. He's not
yeah,
just one of them. He's going to be another one of them. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
yeah, yeah. We're definitely interested to see how things fold on the back stretch of this portal season or whatever. Like you said, it's about to close down here soon. So teams are scrambling and trying to get their last minute additions added
Hey,
here soon.
spring
So
ball
it's
is quick, DG.
yeah. It's coming up soon. There's no spring transfer portal this year, so you for those players that are out there in the portal, you better make a decision fast because once it closes, you're gonna be stuck.
You a student. You a
Yeah.
student.
But yeah, I love. I think solid. Give a solid like B+ to what Mizzou has been doing right
Same here.
now. I don't think it's obviously like you said, it's not the big names that people would want, but I think it's a step in the right direction, especially getting Austin Simmons. I think was
Is
huge
big. It's
for
huge.
Mizzou. So definitely establishing who's going to be your starting quarterback going into next year. I think if I was a Mizzou fan, would give me some kind of clarity as to where this program is headed towards or whatever. So I can't blame some people for not being ultraly excited, but at the same time, I don't think that there's a reason for people to be all
Yeah.
sad and gloom and doom
Th-
or whatever. So.
we gotta understand this. College football is no longer college football anymore. As much as people don't like it, college football is now minor league NFL. These kids are gonna go look and see who's got the best money, who's got the most money, all that, who's gonna give them the opportunity of being a first year starter or whatever the case may.
Mhm.
This is how this goes. This is how this is going to go.
Yep.
You're either you put up or you shut up, or you get the right people, or you're gonna swing for the fences. Drink has prioritized production over potential. Some people that means you get the big name guys who's going to Ohio State and Michigan and Miami and Oregon and Texas A&M, or you go get guys who are from maybe a little bit lower programs, guys who are backups, guys who have a lot of chances and shown a lot of good film and game tape, and they want a bigger opportunity. Uh, and the one thing that Drink has also shown is that he's not getting 1 year guys. He's getting guys who can be here for multiple years. I think that's kind of huge off of when everything is going on. I can say this for certainly because I took the initiative by getting a subscription and saying that there's still a lot of targets that Mizzou is going after. Most notably, I'll tell you one cycle, Mizzou is going to be in for the Desir twins, the Florida State D linemen, the twins from them. Mizzou is supposed to be in pursuit of them. There's some Oregon players that are still out there that Mizzou might be going after. There's still a lot of talent, a lot of talent that's out there. And honestly, until the buzzer sounds and the portal's over with and nobody else can go, and we're starting spring ball, you can still acquire talent. People are still going in and out.
Yeah. Portal. We'll see what happens in these last coming days. They can make some last minute additions, but at this point in time, like I said, you scrambling to the finish line to see what happens. So ultimately, we'll all figure it out. See where people land. Jordan Seaton's gonna be a long one.
That one's gonna be a long one. I saw from the one thing I did saw. This was really crazy. The Alabama D linemen that were teammates, they purposely said we're not gonna make a commitment right on the spot. Which in totality, I guess that meant to them we're gonna wait until Ohio State shows up and Ohio State gives us a better opportunity, gives us a bag and get playing spot, then we'll go. But
Right. Yeah, we'll
honestly,
see.
and yeah, we'll see.
All right, man. Well, for all the great people out there, we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us tonight, man, on the Redshirt podcast, man. We will probably be back to react to the national title game on Monday. So if you guys want to tap in with us for that, it should be a pretty good one. Come stop by, say what's up, whatever to us, and let us know, how you're feeling and what your thoughts are on the game. We would love to have you in here to, discuss and chat with us and things of that nature. So,
Yep.
Kingdom Cast, I believe it's tomorrow at some point in time. Not sure what time they're going to be on, but tap in with them. Tell the truth. We'll obviously be back on Tuesday again to go over some draft things, things of that nature, as far as Chiefs related. And
Yeah.
we're getting into the off season for the Chiefs, so a lot of things coming up for the draft. And obviously, for this show, we'll obviously have a draft segment as well too, for a more broader scale of the whole NFL and the league and things of that nature. So it's gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. We roll into the off season for both college and NFL. So we there, man. We're
Yeah.
into the thick of it. So
For sure.
for Trey and DG, man, y'all have a good night. Be blessed. Be safe. Peace.